Hey folks, we've had people saying just sit down and tell us your story, because there's a lot of content that we're putting into Facebook and YouTube about this journey, but we just wanted to sit down. We're one country in. We wanted to sit down and tell you about the journey so far, why we're doing this, who we are, and our first impressions of Africa. So I'd been to Egypt before. What were your first impressions when you got to Cairo?
Yeah, so obviously my first time in Egypt, and I guess even from getting to the airport at the very beginning, my first impressions were it was going to be very much about tourism. It was going to be very tourism focused. I was met at the airport by somebody who took me through and said, hey, we've got the package for you, laid it all out for me, but I wasn't really about that. And they kind of wanted to force it down my throat.
Yeah, which was a theme that continued, I think, through Egypt, for better and for worse, mostly for worse.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because there's so much to see and do in Egypt. I mean, there's the Red Sea. You've got obviously, one of the wonders of the world, the pyramids of Giza. Further down, Luxor, Aswan. Pretty much throughout the whole country, there's something to see and do for tourists. And really, they have built their society around that.
Yeah, it's a very tourism-focused society. But because of all the issues that Egypt has had, kind of since 2011, really, it's sort of fallen apart a bit. And the ways in which tourism works here now is it's very, very secure, and that doesn't give you a feeling of ease. As a tourist, a lot of the time you're on holiday and you don't want to feel that super protective environment around you.
Indeed, yeah, there's too much police presence in my opinion. They really kept on top of us, so much so that many of the places I felt like I'd done something wrong.
Yeah.
Really, I sort of summarize it as a bit of a sense of paranoia almost. And I'm not sure whether that's around maintaining, a secure tourism industry or securing their own people after what happened in the Arab Spring.
Yeah, probably a bit of both. And having cycled through the country now, seen a lot of police checkpoints, had a lot of police escorts, lots of different conversations with the police force, mostly through mine. We've sort of got it down to two reasons. And the first reason is for our personal security, that they do it. And the second reason is for their own security, I guess, so that they can keep their nation under wraps. And it always feels like they are taking orders from above in what they do. None of them seem to understand fully why they're doing what they do. They're taking orders, they're obeying the orders to the letter.
Yeah.
And common sense has no real place.
Yeah, for sure. It seemed very hierarchical in that sense. I think the people in charge bark the orders and the people below obey them. And you really get that sense of they just have to do what they have to do because they're being told to do that.
Yeah. The most dangerous question to ask in Egypt is why.
Yeah.
Why are we doing this? Why can we not camp here? Why do we have to ride another Ashura kilometers down the road? Just, they don't know, we don't know, but that is what will happen. And as somebody put it recently, everything in Egypt needs a piece of paper.
Yeah.
And we sort of learned that too late. We came here in a very haphazard, disorganized sort of a way.
Yeah, I think we're too used to our sort of Western freedoms, if you like. We wanted to be camping in the desert and blasting through police checkpoints and all the rest. And really, if we'd stuck to the letter of the law, the way they wanted us to do it, we kind of would have had an easier time, I think.
Maybe so. Yeah. If you look at people that have ridden through Egypt, people like Mark Beaumont, who have done it in a very organized sort of a way, they do still experience these things that we're talking about, but maybe they have less of the logistical bureaucracy along the way, and they just get a slightly easier ride of it. But with all that being said, we have absolutely loved our time.
Massively so. What was your favourite place then?
Favourite place in Egypt? The south in general. I think everything from Abu Simbel north to about Luxor, maybe around there, which I know is a big part of the country, but there's a different feel. There is definitely a more relaxed feel. You almost feel your shoulders dropping as you ride out of Luxor and come south.
Yeah, I mean, my impressions of that area straight away, as soon as we drove out, we were getting hellos and welcomes and just greetings from virtually everybody. And the beeping of the horns was less of a, hey, I'm here, get out of the way, more of a, welcome.
Hello, how are you?
I think my favourite place was probably up towards the Red Sea, really.
Oh, yeah?
I think I wanted to sort of see more at the sort of the touristy side of it, and get the sort of the diving and all of that. And they've really they've built that up for tourism around there, and they give it to you on a platter. And that, you know, for what the Egyptians want to give you, they do it in style.
Yeah, cool. So, Sudan.
We're here.
We are in Sudan making this video, and we got here yesterday. We had an experience getting here. I think it was 24 hours that we won't ever forget.
Started with the weather, as a lot of things tend to do. That kind of dictates a lot of what the boundaries we seem to face when we're cycling along.
Yeah, weather is everything when you're in the elements most of the day. We got to Abu Simbel. We had an amazing time in the desert. It was an amazing ride. That was probably one of the most amazing 300-kilometer rides I've ever done.
For sure.
And we got to Abu Simbel. Felt really good about the town, actually. It's a really nice place. I can really vouch for Abu Simbel as a tourist destination, and everything else, probably one of my favourite areas. Going back to your other question, but went to the port in Abu Simbel. It's not like when you go to other ports in other parts of the world, there's, you know, really clear information about what time boats might leave or anything like that. It's all very, a boat left here the other day, so there might be another one today, sort of thing. And so there's two different ports. There's a civilian port and an army port, and we went to both, and we were sort of liaising both
between the two,
almost pitching one against the other to see information checked out with regards to the wind, the weather that was stopping the boats from running. We ended up getting a boat on the day we wanted to get a boat, but it was probably 6 hours later.
Yeah, I mean, they said straight up, no, there's not going to be any boats today. And they said, oh yeah, definitely boats tomorrow. And then we said, well, hang on, what about the fact that it's going to be Friday tomorrow? That's the sort of national holy day. And then they said, oh no, of course. So 2 days you're going to be stuck in Abu Simbel. But we, I guess, experience held the better, and we knew that if we stuck around, they might actually reopen the ferries. And sure enough, they did. We ended up on the military ferry, and it ended up being a free journey with some pretty interesting military chaps.
Yeah, it was a great ferry ride, actually. Very smooth in the end, no problems on the water at all. And we were dropped off into just the middle of nowhere.
The desert.
Coming off of that ferry was like, you'd think, why does a ferry even go there? But obviously, you know, there's a little ribbon of tarmac that runs to Sudan, and so that's the point of it, I guess.
So we rode out the rest of the way, about 30 kilometers, I think it was, to the border, and by that stage, the sun was just starting to set. We knew that the border had been closed since 2 o'clock. We got there, all the trucks were waiting at the border for the next opening the next morning, and we just pretty much started trying to set up camp outside the gates. I got chatting to one of the guards at the gate, and with a bit of, halted Arabic and a few hand gestures, managed to get somebody across who had a bit of authority. And he said 5 minutes, and an hour later he came over with the key to the gate. Which kind of blew us away.
Yeah, it really did. We had our tents out and we were ready to go, sort of thing. But we ended up being allowed into no man's land.
Yeah.
Into the sort of immigration area.
We got ushered through very quickly in the end. It took about, once we'd paid the facilitation payment, it ended up being about 10 minutes.
A 10-minute process. And it could have been quicker. It could have been a walk and a stamp. But it's the way that the money is asked for. It's not really asked for. They sort of stand around until you volunteer it almost. It's a very strange way of doing what is actually quite a formal legal process.
I mean, we knew that it was going to be around about 60 Egyptian pounds
for an exit fee to leave Egypt.
For the exit fee, for the legitimate exit fee.
Yeah.
And who knows where the rest of the money goes, but it always ends up being more than you expect.
Yeah. So we were offered a price of 200 each to begin with, and then got them down to half of that.
No, 60. Ended up being 100 each.
Yeah. So we went then into the scanning area where you're supposed to put your bags onto the scanner and go through, and I think we sort of gestured as if here we go, this is going to be a complex sort of thing, straps, and they didn't have time for that.
No time at all.
So just straight through, bleepers bleeping off everywhere, but we just go straight through the thing, come out the other side, and then go to another place where you get your exit stamp.
That was it.
And then we were done. We were basically let out the gate.
We were pretty much booted out the gate.
So I think the next bit is the sketchiest bit, right? Because picture the scene now. The sun has well gone down. It's dark.
It was pitch black.
It's pitch black. We've got the light from our smartphones and maybe the odd truck waiting in no man's land over in the distance, sort of thing. And we're walking through no man's land, and you can see the Sudanese border ahead, and we're walking through. It's like it felt like there was 6 or 7 snipers on us, didn't it?
Yeah, it felt pretty sketchy. We're walking through no man's land between Egypt.
Trucks. It's not that late, but it feels about 2 in the morning.
It feels super late, and I feel like I'm probably committing so many crimes, even just holding a camera right now.
I don't know why they let us through. I really don't know why they let us through, because the border was closed. We were ready to camp.
The Sudanese border was closed.
The Sudanese border was closed too.
Yeah.
And so they had to come and unpadlock the gate for us to go through that one as well. And so
we got in.
We got into the Sudanese area, and that was probably a more legitimate process overall, I'd say.
It felt like it.
Yeah, like they checked out the visas, and a little bit of a question about yours because
didn't have the right stamp on the visa, but a minor inconvenience, that one.
Yeah, and then again, didn't really check our bags. I actually used a Mark Beaumont trick for this. Which is when they go to asking you to unpack your bags and what's inside, is I popped open the one which I knew I had a pair of boxes and an old t-shirt sort of sitting at the top, and just pulled that out and started gesturing to my clothes and making it look all complicated and putting it on the table and stuff, and they lose interest pretty quick. It's like, okay, go. So you stuff that back in and get out of there before they change their mind, basically.
Straight into the hands of the money changers.
So at this point we were through. We were into Sudan. It was dark.
About 9 o'clock.
It was really dark. Just, I think it feels darker here when it's dark. I don't know if I don't know what.
It's a border crossing, so you're not in a main town. There's no lights around. There's no light pollution. So
yeah, we're 30 k's from
in the desert, in the middle of nowhere.
taxis, money changers, and dogs were our company.
Dogs are always your company.
The dogs are lovely.
Should have got the rabies shot.
Yeah, I think they can smell the lack of anti-rabies in my blood. Anyway, that put us into Sudan. And it was late by this point, and we had two options, I guess. We had three options. We could either ride into the dark on a road that we didn't know at all, and drivers did look like they were going quite fast out onto it, or we could camp right there by the border, or we could just ride a little bit down the road and camp somewhere in the shrub. And we decided to do none of the above. And take the advice from a local taxi guy.
Yeah.
And get a lift to Wadi Halfa. So we got a lift for the last 30 Ks just from the border to where we are now, Wadi Halfa.
We've always found that getting a few little lifts here and there with taxi drivers that have the right level of English, especially when going into a new country, has been really useful. We found the right exchange rate. We found the right hotels to go to, where the police station was, how to get SIM cards, all the basics of starting in a new country.
Yeah, he was really, really helpful with that. And one thing to say about Sudan, I guess one of the stark differences straight off the bat is they don't try and rip you off.
No bakshish in Sudan.
No, the exchange rate that we got from these really dodgy looking changes at the port, at the land crossing, they were accurate. I've asked around here at the hotel where we were staying, and those rates seem to be legit. So
Greg tried the Egyptian method with the hotel owner when we got here, and got a very stern talking to. Yeah. No. 400 is the price. And so I was put in my place with that. It is incredibly cheap here, isn't it? Unbelievably so.
It's ridiculously cheap.
Scarily so.
I was having a pretty interesting conversation with that chap out there, guy who spoke pretty good English, about the currency and what's going on, and some of the government stuff that's happening at the minute. And he's saying that Bashir, their leader right now, no one in the country likes him at all.
Really?
And he's the reason the exchange rate is so volatile and is just dropping weekly.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard talk of protests going on, and people have been killed. So it's a volatile situation at the moment. But we're keeping ears to the ground and being sensitive to it.
We definitely don't get the feeling that this is a complete lunacy type protesting that's going on. I think it is quite focused, and I think the feeling that I'm getting is, unless you're particularly involved in the protesting, you're not really in any sort of danger here.
No, not at all. It doesn't feel dangerous at all here.
No.
I feel quite at ease, to be honest.
Yeah, there is another sort of shoulder dropping moment as you come across the border. You're no longer in a place where you've got to obey a whole set of rules, and if you break one, you're in trouble, sort of thing. It feels really easy and flexible, and the people have been very, very friendly indeed.
They have. So we're looking forward to the next phase of the Odyssey, and
we've got a long road ahead, and we can feel that from the miles that are already in our legs. And we're on bicycles here. We're on bicycles, and we can see around us already the people that walk everywhere, especially coming here to Wadi Halfa. People that walk everywhere and people that have bicycles. And as you know, we're doing this for World Bicycle Relief, and there's a link below this video. In the comment section below, there is a link to our Just Giving page, where you can see a summary of our trip and all the reasons why we've chosen to support World Bicycle Relief in this. Bicycles are obviously close to our heart, and also close to the hearts of all these people through Africa whose lives they're changing. So if you're able to support us in that, use the link below.
Please do. It would mean a lot to us.
It would. Thanks again for all of you who are following our journey. And we are all ears for your advice, by the way. If you know anything about these areas, don't think that we're experts just because we've taken on this challenge. We really are not.
We know nothing. Literally nothing.
This is an odyssey for us. This is an exploration, and we are all ears for any information that you may have that can help us along our way.
And get in touch with us as well. Comment, message us, get involved. We love to hear from you. Sort of you're our touchstones back to home, I guess.
Yeah, we have no one else. And we barely have you with the way that connection's been lately.
Yeah. So, yeah.
All right. Stay in touch.
Cheers, guys.
See you soon.